Hello, everyone, and welcome to Unified Purpose, the podcast where we share inspiring tales of compassion, resilience, and community spirit. I'm your host, Shannon, and I'm joined here today with two members from Dreamzilla. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it.
Happy to be here.
Thank you.
Hey, Shannon. Thanks for having us.
Thank you for joining me. Can you guys please start by telling us a little bit about yourself, how you got involved in this work, what your position is currently, and why what you do is important to you?
Sure. Yeah, I can start. I'm sorry, I'm getting over a cough, so excuse my coughing for a little bit. But yeah, I guess we could start with maybe the origin of Dreamzilla. It came to be after my dad saw how many obstacles I overcame as a young man facing the challenge of living as a neurodivergent individual. And Dreamzilla's mission is to empower neurodivergent people like myself to cultivate their talents and to pursue their lifelong passions. So we can talk a little bit about the origins of the name too. So the name Dreams, like the dream part of Dreamzilla, comes from our mission of empowering these people to follow their dreams. And the Zilla part is pretty cool. It's a reference to Godzilla, this big monster known to be misunderstood for being big and bad in the early films. But later on, filmmakers have evolved his character into this protector of the planet. He's defending the people. He's fighting off the bad monsters. And it's cool because it's a portrayal of the neurodivergent community, because now we find ourselves rooting for the big bad monster. And our tagline is "Be your biggest baddest self," which is a really cool tie-in to the name Dreamzilla.
My favorite thing to learn about the organization, because I personally love Godzilla, like all the old movies I had on VHS as a kid, and I do think that it's a common thing in media that like a monster or a villain is like misunderstood and has an entire backstory in which, you know, like has overcome so many obstacles and is, you know, those things are ignored and like disregarded, and no one really looks too much into, you know, why someone is the way they are, or, you know, like that maybe what their perception of what is bad or what is good or what is right or what is wrong is not necessarily true across the board.
Yeah, and that's exactly why we settled on the name Dreamzilla. Exactly correct. And yeah, I just really like the vibe that it gives off too, because it kind of adds the fun factor too for people building their future. And that's that. At the end of the day, we want them to have fun. We want them to find this lifelong passion, and we want them to have a good time while doing everything we do to help them.
That's wonderful. I really resonate with this mission, because I do think that everyone should have the right to pursue what is important to them. And unfortunately, how, you know, the world and society works, sometimes that's not as accessible for a lot of individuals. So this mission is incredible in that way of being able to support so many people that are not always set up for success in the way that the world works.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks,
also think the
Shannon.
name is so.
Sorry, I know
Right.
that we're talking over three people, but continue.
Yeah, sorry, Riddhi, do you want to add in like maybe how you like to get involved too, and what prompted you to join us?
Yes, for sure. I'd love to. Just to add on to like the name, I think it's really cool because every time someone asks me, "Oh, where do you work?" and I say Dreamzilla, they're always like, "Wait, what?" And I have to always repeat myself. And the second time they hear it, they're like, "Oh my god, that's so cool!" So it's always like a fun, like little conversation starter as well. So and it is a pretty awesome name. So I really like that. I joined Dreamzilla as a volunteer originally, and I was working with Ken on like the design stuff. So we were kind of looking at how can we create like the brand identity, how can we kind of take that forward, just basically kind of do more work in the space. From that, I kind of have been with Dreamzilla now for two years. And I have kind of, my role has changed a little bit and it's been exciting. The reason I got into it, of course, was my own personal connection to neurodivergence as well. The kind of discoveries I've had much later in life, which explained a lot of the things that I struggled with when I was a kid. And I'm just like, oh my God, that's why, like, that makes sense, which is always like a really nice moment when it clicks. So that's my initial motivation. And what kind of does keep me going is kind of my lived experience as well, which I'm like, oh, if I had this would be really cool. And kind of making sure bringing that into the work, always figuring out, oh, this is a good direction, or this is kind of like a good space for us to kind of keep doing work in and expanding it. So that's kind of how I landed here and where I am now.
Yeah, it's really wonderful to have the perspective of if I had this, I would be set up more for success. And so people that you're working with, you can kind of use that perspective and translate it to, oh, this might be helpful towards other people. I wish that like this was something that I had growing up or in my experience, that maybe you might have now, but you didn't have before.
Absolutely. Yep.
So can you guys kind of touch on some programs that you have, maybe some that are coming up or some that you've done in the past that you've really enjoyed or any that are reoccurring?
Sure, we have some coming up right now. Before that, Carl, did you want to kind of touch up on any events that you've done in the past?
Yeah. So for the programs, we worked on a lot of like really cool things behind the scenes. We've got like support circles in the making. We got workshops, one-on-one coaching, and like funding projects as well. So let's start with the support circle. This peer connection built around shared experience, and we want to add like a fun twist to those support circles too. Let me try to scroll through my notes here and see what I have written down um for our support circles. And one circle that I'm working on building is a gaming circle because we have a lot of neurodivergent gamers. Um, I'm a gamer myself. I play video games all the time.
Me too.
You can like I got like this racing simulator, and you cannot pry me away from that thing ever. um, but yeah, it's a virtual space. It's all online. We can use Discord to communicate with our peers, and it's pretty much, yeah, this virtual space where peers come together to share, listen, and support one another while like having a good time. And it's not just gaming too. It's also creative writing, arts, you name it, whatever passion we can think of. Um, and we just want to offer a space for connection where trust and understanding can grow naturally. It's a place to hold what's shared and build lasting community.
That's wonderful. I think that community is something that's really important, especially for um, a group in which sometimes you might not feel like other people get you or like understand your experience, and to be able to talk to other people that have a similar shared experience as you, especially the same interests as you as well, is something that's incredible and so empowering to be able to just share ideas and bounce off of each other and just have a fun time relating in a way that maybe you didn't have before or you had a hard time accessing before.
Yeah, absolutely. Riddhi, why don't you talk to us a little bit about the individualized coaching program that we're also building?
Awesome. Yeah. So the two programs that Kyle mentioned before, it's part of like a 4-part series of one program called the Young Adults Program, where we kind of mainly focus on neurodivergent young adults age 18 to 29, 28 and above. Like we're still kind of like seeing what's happening in that space. The motivation to kind of cater to these individuals was we noticed that there was like a lack of support when that transition hits. Like you're done with school, there are a lot of programs like IEP programs and stuff that help support any learning disabilities that you might have earlier in life. But then when you hit 18 and you have that transition, it all sort of like really falls off.
Mhm.
So there's like a huge space where people are just like, it's just like, okay, now what? When it's already a confusing enough time, and add to it the lack of support, which is just a recipe for disaster. So we thought this might be like a really good space to work in. So apart from like the two programs that Kat mentioned, the third one that we're looking at is a is called individualized coaching. It basically offers more of a catered support to an individual. So it's like kind of like a step above support circles, if you will. Like it's more intense, it's more one-on-one interactions. It's always self-guided. There's none of it where we're kind of like guiding you. All we do is kind of provide the tools. We have frameworks, we have conversations where we kind of identify, okay, what is it that you would want to talk about, what you would want to work on. So basically kind of still being that pillar of support, but in a more dedicated way, I would say. So that is what kind of like our coaching bit does. And the fourth part, like the last part of it, is it was originally our scholarships that we did. So they're like funded projects that we're hoping help communities. So it could be a creative idea, initiative, any kind of strategy that you kind of do want to think about. It could be a product that you think would really benefit the neurodivergent community. We're really looking for those kind of projects. Again, they're like totally self-led. It's not, we have no input in those. We do not direct how those happen. We just kind of provide the support and the funds to kind of make that happen. And hopefully that is something that can be launched into the community. So eventually it becomes a tool that can help everyone in the community, and that can be used in a shared space as well. So that is kind of like the whole part of our young adults program, which is the one that we're launching in September. That's kind of like what we're really working on hard right now. That is one program. We have two more. One of it is a network, like a professional mentorship network, and the second is a conference. The conference is still being developed. We're still kind of working with universities, looking at kind of what can happen in that space. But as you would guess, that is just a space where a lot of individuals come together. It's conversation, it's open talk, it's workshops, things like that. The professional mentorship network is actually really interesting. It has a bunch of mentors who are much further along in their careers, neurodivergent mentors, hoping to match with mentees who are looking for certain career guidance. It could be, let's say you want to know how to ask for a certain thing at work, like accommodations. We all know there are certain accommodations you can ask for, but there is kind of a gap where there is uncertainty on whether you can ask them, not, you don't know. It's kind of like this weird unspoken space.
Yeah.
So we're hoping to kind of connect these mentors with people who do want to grow professionally and kind of have a plan for it, need some guidance, have questions that they might want answered. So that's what we're hoping happens in that space once we have those connections. So that is also underway. So 1, 2, 3, those are the 3 programs that we have.
Thank you for giving all that information. That was a lot, and you had it all stacked in there perfectly. I think that was wonderful. It was very concise. You did a fantastic job. I would love to know more about the scholarship program specifically. Like what kind of things have been funded in the past? Like what is something that maybe either of you have been specifically excited about or like really enjoyed being a part of or just watching happen?
Yeah, I can start with with maybe the first few scholarships that we've awarded in the early stages of the organization. So we were kind of still figuring out what to do exactly with Dreamzilla, and one idea I had was I want to support people to follow their dreams. Because my dad watched me like chase down the dream of myself becoming a professional race car driver, and I've found a lot of success in that, and I put in the work and the focus and won some championships and a good amount of wins too on top of that. And we wanted to bring that same potential out in others who have the same drive for their own goals. So the first scholarship ever was for a seamstress. Actually, she was a really great craftswoman, and we really admired her work, and we wanted to give her a scholarship for it. But it wasn't particularly for her craft. She wanted to use the scholarship to go to school and get a degree. But we liked her path. We liked that she had a unique story behind her passion. So that was our first ever scholarship. And then one of my favorite awards also was also for a race car driver, another race car driver. He got into a pretty bad accident, and he was financially set back by the damages, the repair damages, because racing is expensive. Um, so we awarded him a scholarship. He's another autistic race car driver, and we just wanted to see him get back on track because we know how talented he was. Because he and I raced go karts together in the past too, and he was just so fast. So we helped him get back on track too with that program. And we're now taking it to the next step. We're not just kind of selecting scholarship recipients. We now have a program for applicants to follow.
Mhm.
And it's almost like this ladder system. We want to see growth in the people that we help. And Riddhi, you can definitely tell us more about how we're looking to improve our scholarship program.
Yeah, I'd love to hear more.
For sure. I think the recipients that we have this year, they're like, we went through like a little bit of a selection process where basically first we asked ourselves what we're looking for and what we kind of want to get at with these scholarships. Upon like doing some rounds of that, we have these three amazing like recipients who are doing really good work, and they're all really different. One of them, who actually we went with yesterday, she's doing this zine for Access Docs. So it's really wonderful. She's doing illustrations, and a lot of it talks about like her own experience and kind of putting something out in the community that could be a resource, which is really wonderful. Another recipient is kind of doing an illustrated book where she kind of where they do like the flora and fauna of Missouri, where it's kind of like a fantasy illustration thing, which is also like a really cool concept. And that also is educational. So again, it kind of is something that is put back into the community,
Mhm.
which is exciting, which is kind of where we're hoping to take scholarships now, where it is kind of a project or an initiative that has shared goals, that has shared investments, and also everyone can benefit from whatever comes off of it. And also hoping that it is something that's sustainable, that we can help grow, where it's not like, okay, the scholarship project's over, okay, that is kind of it. We're
Yeah.
hoping to kind of make it, okay, how do we keep it ongoing? How do we grow it? What happens next? Kind of asking these questions, seeing what people have in mind, who kind of started it. They might not initially have an idea to grow it beyond, but we're hoping that eventually they might think that, oh, this might be something that I could do this with, or I could kind of grow it into that. Which again, since it's focused on their passions, it does kind of speak to our mission of we're kind of really hoping to cultivate that passion with the people, like with the participant in the driver's seat, basically, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. I love like you are trying to support an individual's or maybe a group's passion, but also making sure that that has a lasting impact, which sounds it sounds like it makes more sense than maybe like a dead end, like, okay, I've supported this passion for a period of time and then that's kind of it. Like it makes sense in that way, that it's like a larger program to support a larger thing or an entity rather than just that. I really love the idea of being able to create these kind of programs for so many different subjects. Do you have like a specific what's the word I'm looking for? Like area in which you support passions? Like, are they more autistic? Like, you guys talk a lot about like access to inclusive design and things like that. Are these passions more artistic based, or are they kind of like all across the board?
It can be all across the board, not just art. It could be science. It could be design. Like kind of falls under the same category of art, but its own niche category. Or it could be sports even. If someone wants to pursue like a sport that they really want to play, then we kind of lead them on to that journey as well. Um, So we really want to be as diverse as we can, and not only including the people that we want to support, but also the activities themselves. I think that's also really important.
Yeah, no, thank you for that insight. I also was wondering also if you have insight into this of like what does the funding model look for supporting scholarships like this? Like how like what kind of areas do you go for to look for funding certain programs such as this? Like what difficulties do you face when looking for donors? Because I know that all nonprofits across the board have issues sometimes in this area, and it's very difficult and definitely humbling to have to explain why something is important to you and it might not be to someone else. And so I'm just curious about like what that experience is like, and maybe some advice for how other nonprofits can do it similarly.
Of course, I think that would definitely be. I think you definitely get a lot more insight from our ED about like the details, but we could just kind of like go over it briefly. We are currently building our donor base, so we're literally starting from scratch. So a lot of it is we're on the ground, we're doing the work. So we are making sure that we leverage our own networks. We kind of look at what's happening in this space. We try and run these programs, get more people involved, do outreach. In that way, like build connections. And through that, we're kind of hoping to build our donor base. Because of that, like since we're looking at such a diverse group where we're also like looking at young adults, we know that these kind of things do take time, like the payoff or let's say the actual results, like the numbers come in much later. Like even though you're putting in a lot of the work right now, even if people are like, yes, amazing, I'm doing it, I'm here, a lot of the hard work is shown in the end. So I think we're gonna have to like wait a little bit to see what's happening in that space for sure. But currently we're actively like looking for people to join our programs to kind of get involved, grow, which is how we're hoping that we essentially reach that stage where we are a household name, I guess.
I completely understand the long-term goal of it all. That's very similar to a marketing role in the idea that you might be putting a lot of work in now, but you kind of see like the fruits of your labor kind of a lot
Absolutely.
longer down the line. I completely understand that. And I appreciate the insight. I understand that you can't go into specifics as it's not your specific position, but it is really helpful to know. Kyle, were you going to say something? I thought I might have heard you. Or did I
Oh
not?
no, I think Riddhi knocked it out of the park with that answer. She took the words out of my mouth.
No, that's totally okay. I just was making sure that I didn't talk over you. Could you guys maybe explain a story that really impacted you specifically, like in your experience at Dreamzilla?
Any stories that impacted? I think it's more so kind of like how we're figuring out like the mission for Dreamzilla, because we started out with just kind of supporting people to pursue these passions. But we had a really good discussion one day about, you know what? There are a lot of people out there in the world who aren't even in the right headspace to consider seeking a passion in life, and um, that's the type of people that we really want to help, because it's a mental health journey for them. So we really shifted the mission from supporting to more so empowering people who need to be uplifted, so that they can believe it themselves and they can find something that they want to pursue in life. And that really changed like the motivation in me as well to put in the work and like help Dreamzilla develop further to get to the point where we do help people like with their mental health as well, and give them that support, not only that support but that drive, the same drive that I had when I was younger, and as well as many other people who were blessed to have the opportunities that they did.
No, recognizing that need to pivot, I think, is really important too. Like understanding your understanding the group you're helping is crucial, obviously, in making an impact. But sometimes you go in with a goal and you realize that that might have to change a little bit in order to get closer to it. And understanding your impact in that not everyone has the ability to have goals if they're worrying about XYZ, or like they're not thinking about a long-term goal or like what makes them happy because, you know, life itself isn't making them happy at the moment in time. And to be able to be supported in like at the beginning rather than just looking towards like the end is something that's really important. And to have recognized that and kind of changed your mission accordingly to support individuals that are dealing with different states of mind throughout the process is something that I'm sure is incredibly helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that really resonated with me, like that change in the mission too. Because like I've experienced it myself at that point. I've experienced like, you know, having a big like mental low point when I was like pursuing like the dream of becoming a race car driver, like telling like believing in myself that I couldn't do it, that I couldn't like win these races or championships. Um and my dad really like played a big role in like supporting me to get me in the right headspace to believe that I can win these races and I can like win this championship. Um, and like I just found it really relatable. And there are so many people out there in the world who like they want to do something crazy, but there's like so many things that they're their biggest enemy. They're holding themselves back from doing these crazy things. But we want to give them the hope that they can do these crazy things. They can pull it off.
Yeah, and you can provide that support system too, not only with like those community groups that you were speaking about earlier, but also just, you know, the coaching that you mentioned and all of these different embodiments that can help these individuals grow at different parts of what they're experiencing. And like not everyone, you know, you mentioned your dad, not everyone has that support system or a support system at all. And so to be able to, you know, be able to feel supported in any way is something that is probably very valuable.
I'd like
To
to add on to
sorry,
that. Sorry.
no, you're good.
Um,
Please do.
just to kind of add on to it, another thing that we were thinking about is like support looks different for everyone, and it kind of is not a one size fits all. So someone might need help with just kind of connecting. Someone might need just help like professionally. So we're also kind of making sure that we meet people where they are. We don't kind of have the same approach to everyone, which is why the programs that we're doing are so modular. They are kind of like super low barrier on access. Our support circles are actually free to attend, like always, because we do believe like something like that, like community support, that is not something that we want to kind of charge for. That's something that should just be like we all need support, community, friends, any of that. So we're really making sure that we meet people where they are, and that we kind of let them be the deciders of kind of what support they do want, or what intensity of support they want. Like, do they want like a really light, oh, I'll just check in, I'll just sit in? Do you really want to talk through? Of course, since we're not licensed professionals, we do kind of redirect them to certain services if that's what they choose to do. But generally, as just like more of a pure support group, like just think of it as like a group of friends sitting in a circle and talking, sharing their day, sharing what they're struggling with this week, or just like that. So that's also definitely something we're focusing a lot on this time.
Yeah, something that I heard really recently that makes me think of what we're discussing right now is you know, like the response to stress that everyone says is like fight, flight, or freeze. Well, they're doing studies on, you know, this reaction, like this instinctual reaction that people have. Like why that came about was because of a research study or several research studies on humans' response to stress. But they only did like they only did the study on like able-bodied white men around a certain age, which is normally what research studies are done on, unfortunately. And so they started researching this more recently and have included women and other people of different ethnicities and all of this different stuff, that they realized that there was another response that people had that had a better outcome than these 3 reactions or so we thought were the only ones, which was community, which was like going to friends or like asking for help, or and like the outcome of that situation is like the percentage of it being better than those 3 immediate instinctual reactions that were thought to be the only options in a response to stress, is so much better. And I love anything that is fostering community, because I truly think it can be helpful to anyone. It's just, you know, the type of community or what you're getting, like the resources within that community, like if it works for you, and just being able to find your place in what works best.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a really interesting study, and that's a very cool finding. I'm gonna go look that up. I would love for you to share that with me if you have it.
I hope you
that's
can. I got it from a podcast guest, so I don't have a direct link to it. I hope they're not lying to me, because that was really making me happy. But I will see if I can find it for you, or if you find it, send it over to me.
For sure. Yes.
Just love the evidence behind it as well. But hope it's real. But you know, I'm gonna keep lying about it, even if it's not, because it's really, really hopeful. But regardless, I want to round out the podcast, since we're a little over time, but I think that it was a wonderful conversation, so I don't care. But I do want to be a little forward-looking. Like, tell us how people can help. Tell us how we can participate. Tell us how people can get involved in Dreamzilla.
Yeah, I mean, all it takes is, you know, it just takes the leap of faith and, you know, finding us online. Our website is dreamzilla.org. You could also find us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn. You know, always feel more than welcome to reach out. And then we're super responsive with everyone. So, you know, all it takes is, you know, just reaching out.
Yeah. And I think one of the things, like, definitely, just like, if you know someone that you really think would like this, if you think, oh my God, this person would find this really interesting, just feel free to share it with your friends, family, anyone you know who yourself might be really interested. Please, you're always kind of welcome to come join in, even if you're not like in the 18 to 29 age group. That's totally fine. We have other programs that we're kind of working on, so there is always something that's happening that we're doing that will have a place for you. And also, I remember, Shannon, you said that you like gaming. You should definitely check out our support circles that Kyle is going to be hosting, which starts on the 8th of September.
Yep,
So
September 8th, first support circle. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, we'll definitely share that with you, because that's going to be fun. And since you enjoy gaming, that would be a cool way to meet new people as well.
That sounds wonderful. Thank you so much also, because I do game. So I'm really excited to participate. Thank you both so much for joining me today. I had an absolutely amazing time learning about Dreamzilla and learning about the 2 of you and your work there, and I really appreciate it again.
Yeah, of course. Thank you so much for having us, Shannon, and thank you for this really cool opportunity. I'm really glad we got to share what we do for Dreamzilla with you guys today.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thanks so much for making us so comfortable as well. It was really, really easy conversation, and super happy to kind of be here and just have a conversation. That's all.
Yeah, having a conversation.
It's always a good time.
I appreciate it, and that's what I'm here for. And everyone, please check out Dreamzilla in the description. It will be there when this video comes out. And thank you for listening as well. We really appreciate it, and we'd be nothing without you. So thank you, and have a lovely rest of your day, everyone.